Hey, vinyl community. Uh, it seemed like I was just doing this the other day. Here goes again. We lost another one of our greats, uh, Texas singer-songwriters. Used, I think yesterday, Billy Joe Schaefer, uh, great Texas singer-songwriter at age 81, passed away, had a massive stroke, and we lost him. One of the great characters in the music industry. Uh, Billy Joe was raised by his grandmother mostly. His mother was working in Waco, and he stayed with his grandmother most of the time until in a small town outside of Waco. And then when his grandmother died, he moved in with his mother again. He and his sister did, and he ended up hitting the road at a very young age, hitchhiking. He was going to hitchhike to L.A. and he couldn't get a ride going west, so he crossed the highway and started hitchhiking east, and he ended up in Memphis and then Nashville, where he became a songwriter. Before doing that, he had worked in a sawmill when he lost, sounds like Django Reinhardt here, he lost much of two of his right hand fingers in a sawmill accident, but was able to continue to play the guitar despite that. And the stories about Billy Joe Schaefer abound, but I'm not gonna tell you a bunch of them that you can read about them on the internet and hear about them. I'll just mention a couple of things. You know, there's the story, and there's so many different versions of it. He saw Waylon at a Texas concert and was in the backstage trailer out for outdoor concert or something, and played one of his songs. And Waylon came out of the back of the trailer and inquired about it. He liked that song, and he said, "Well, if you get to Nashville, you know, look me up. I want to hear some more if you got any more like that." And then Waylon doesn't even remember this supposedly. He's in the studio. Waylon is in the studio, and he's hanging around with several Hell's Angels or motorcycle gang guys or something. And Schaefer comes in, and they keep saying, "This guy out here wants to talk to you." And you know, he wouldn't talk to him. He thought it was just some crazy guy and everything. But Schaefer kind of busts on in and you know, talks ugly to Waylon a little bit. And these guys are getting ready to jump him and beat him up or stab him or whatever. And Waylon holds them off, and he said, "Well, Hoss, you better have some songs for me if you want to keep from getting your butt kicked." So Schaefer just reels off song after song, and Waylon ends up recording the album Honky Tonk Heroes. 10 of the, I think it's 12 songs on the album, 10 of the 12 songs are Billy Joe Schaefer songs. And that kind of, previous to that, he had a song covered by Chris Christopherson. Same year Waylon's album comes out, 73, he gets an album out on Monument Records. That one's hard, Old Five and Dimers. That one's hard to find in vinyl form. I've been looking for it, but when you do see it, it's either over in Germany or somewhere where it's going to cost you a fortune to get it shipped over here, or it's just very high dollar. So I'm hoping to find a copy of that sometime. Haven't yet. And then in 76, Schaefer goes with Capricorn Records, that one Monument record, and then Capricorn puts 2 records out on Capricorn. This one is Wings, When I Get My Wings, Billy Joe Schaefer. And I've had that for years and years. Got a lot of great songs on here. Ride Me Down Easy, Ain't No God in Mexico, Thunderbirds on here, Restless Wind. And then he did this one, which actually doesn't feature as much of his own songwriting as you would expect from someone known as a Texas singer-songwriter. This was called Gypsy Boy. It's also on Capricorn. This one is 76. This one's 77. And of course, you know, Capricorn went under not too long after that. Let's see, the song Chicken on the Ground. He co-wrote with Bobby Bears on here. Slow Rolling Lows on here that he wrote. Silver Wings of Time. You Asked Me To. He wrote with Waylon. Billy Joe wrote it with Waylon. And of course, we know that one from Waylon. Then he got with Columbia, and this is that Virginia team, graphic arts. Recognize them anywhere in the 1970s. This was around 1982. This album came out. They tried to make him look slicker. You know, that's the artwork from that Virginia team that did a lot of rock and country releases. But and to me, that would have been a much better album cover. But that's just me, right? Okay, he's trying to appeal to a larger audience. I think he did like 17 albums, but most of them are CD, and some of them have been released on vinyl as well. But you know, they're few and far between. So 73, 77, 76, into the 80s a little bit with Columbia, and then things start being on CD. But my favorite songs from him, Black Rose, I'm just an old chunk of coal, but I'm going to be a diamond someday, which around 1982 or so, by the time that Columbia Records album came out, John Anderson took to, I think, number 4 on the country charts. It was a big hit for John Anderson. I'm just an old chunk of coal. I'll be a diamond someday. Georgia on a Fast Train's another really good Billy Joe Schaefer song. It's got the lyric on there. I've been to Georgia on a fast train, honey. I wasn't born no yesterday. I had a good Christian raising and an 8th grade education. Ain't no needin' y'all a treating me this way. And of course, from Black Rose, the classic line, the devil made me do it the first time. Second time, I did it on my own. So we got to say goodbye to another one of our legendary Texas singer-songwriters, Mr. Billy Joe Schaefer's. Just saddens my heart to see these things happening. Just like every 2 days we lose somebody almost. It's like that, and I know it's true in all the genres. We lost several rock stars, rock musicians recently, of course, Eddie Van Halen being the most recent, I suppose, but lots of them. It's been a tough year, but you know, everybody's getting into their 70s and 80s and beyond. So I guess it's inevitable. None of us are going to live together. So let's pray for the Schaefer family. By the way, Billy Joe, he had a lot of loss in his life, but he kept a positive attitude. He was actually married to 2 women 5 times. His first wife, Jean, I believe was her name. That might have been the second wife. Tyndall was her last name. He married her and divorced her 3 times, I believe. I believe they were married 3 times. And then another wife he was married to got it annulled and then remarried her. Had a son named Eddie, a great guitar player. Unfortunately, Eddie was like 38 years old when he died of he was touring with his dad. I think they were in New York City, touring with his dad. Dickie Betts taught Eddie a lot about playing guitar, and he was a well-regarded guitarist. And they were calling themselves Schaefer, as a father-son duo. And he died of a heroin overdose around 2000 or so, something like that. And Billy Joe was very good. He always had religious beliefs and faith. He didn't always, you know, he did like all of us. He backslid sometime, but he always had faith. So we feel like, you know, he's going to be up there in heaven if we're fortunate enough to make it there ourselves one day. That we'll get to see him. He was He played in The Apostle. If you ever seen the Robert Duvall movie, The Apostle, very good movie, kind of a spiritual advisor to Robert Duvall when he fell off the deep end and went into hiding. He would call him and talk, get updates and everything. He was also, when Kinky Friedman, everybody knows Kinky Friedman, the Texas Jew boy, when Kinky Friedman ran for governor of Texas, Billy Joe Schaefer was his spiritual advisor. So, so that's a few little kind of humorous things about him, but he was an amazing character, amazing man, wrote so many wonderful, wonderful songs. I go on YouTube and look up Black Rose, just an old chunk of coal, George on a Fast Train. Some really good songs. All right. I'll conclude this one. This is remembrance of Billy Joe Schaefer, a life well lived, passed away at 81 on the 28th. Everybody, take care, and remember, be kind to your neighbors. We're all neighbors, okay?